What's up guys, this is Bloodstained here coming at you with another video, and today I'm going to show you my top 10 favorite physical PlayStation Vita games. And I went with the physical ones because yes, I do have a few downloaded games, and the thing is that I think it's amazing to have, the opportunity to download games as well, but to me obviously the physical stuff is quite important. So I'm just going to restrict this list to my top 10s, and why don't we just jump into it and let's see what we got. So no particular order really. The first one is Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon. This game is so good. It's obviously basically a take on the Castlevania story, and Castlevania was one of these series that intrigued me when I was really young, and then I completely just forgot about it. And in the past couple of years or so, I've pretty much since the Netflix series season 1 came out, that was like, oh yeah, crap, of course there is Castlevania, it's amazing. But there isn't any Castlevania game for the Vita. There is stuff for the PSP, which is a really good collection of games. Well, it's not a collection, it's sort of like kind of like a remake. But Curse of the Moon really sort of bridges that gap for the Vita. Now, unfortunately, this game is a limited run games release. It was an absolute nightmare to get it. Like, if you guys were there when this released, it was literally sold out within the next 2 minutes, the first 2 minutes of it going online. I unfortunately couldn't get it there, as I'm sure many of you either. So I got it from a reseller. Person was cool though, but I did have to wait ages to get it, and I still paid double price. So Vita games, like, I get why it's so cool to collect them, but the value of some of these games is just ridiculous. Anyway, gameplay wise, really cool. You eventually, or fairly quickly, unlock 4 different characters, and they all have sort of slightly different abilities. And it's very much like a Castlevania, like you keep moving across the map. It's a little bit of a platforming as well, but basically a battle, and you need to be quite skillful as to which warrior you're going to use in what situation. Highly recommend it. Next one, it's a really hard game to play properly, is the Darkest Dungeon. Now, I don't know if you guys can see, but actually just there, I actually have this in a collector's box, and I did review that previously with you guys here on the channel, to some pretty good response as well. I think it's this particular box was really well put together, and the game is really good. It's a dungeon crawler, so you build your teams, and you have to go on different missions. And it starts out hard, and it just gets harder and harder and harder as you go into the game. I have spent probably a good 5 hours playing this game before I realized that I'm just not getting anywhere. My teams kept constantly dying. I was constantly restarting. I was always going in with level 1s. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna have to YouTube it, because I was just not progressing at all. When you YouTube it and you look at some of the, by the way, excellent videos that you can find about, like tips and tactics and how to play this game, I've actually then put in like another 20 hours into the game. I still haven't managed to complete it. It's still hard, but I finally am at the stage where I got like a very decent roster of characters that are like high level and all of different weapons and all that stuff as well for them, different abilities. It's a great game. It's a really good game. If you guys can, get a copy of this, I highly recommend it, but only if you got the nerves to play, because it's fucking frustrating though. Next one, oh dude, this was one of the first games I played through on the Vita. It's Dragon's Crown. It's a really cool game. There is a slight frame rate drop when you get a lot of enemies on the screen, and you do really you don't even know which character is yours. It's quite an interesting. This is also very similar to the previous two in a way. It's they're similar in a way, whereas you're always, you know, basically it's a 2D game where you look at your characters from the side, but they all approach, you know, they all approach the gameplay from a very different angle. So here you want to go and level up your guys. Well, you want to level up your main character and then hire and maybe dismiss other characters from your team that are, you know, higher level and stuff. But it's a really cool game. If you like Dragon's Crown, there's another two that is very similar, just like sort of different storyline. The other one's Muramasa, and the other one is Odin Sphere. Lift. Leiftrasir, something like that. But you know, if you want to get into this is a very good starting point. It's really good art style, interesting gameplay. There are some cooking segments as well if you go on long missions, which I found a really nice touch. It's a cool game. If you put your back into it, you can complete it in sort of like 10 to 15 hours, depending how casual you are. Again, cool game. A lot of people say that Most Wanted is the best racing game on the Vita. I think it is. Yes, it's definitely one of the best racing games on the Vita, but I also highly recommend VRC 4. 3 is... so I haven't played 3 and 5, but I've played a lot of 4. I'm talking about probably about, you know, good 30 hours gameplay. Which for a casual, I think it's you know, it's a good day and a half, really. So 4 is not the most expensive, but it runs the best on the Vita. It has you know, it's more relevant than the 3 because you got maybe a little bit extra things, although the 3 and 4 aren't necessarily very different. Problem with 5 is I find like they changed the art direction on 5 and it just doesn't, it looks messy, it looks draggy, it looks like the gameplay just isn't there. 4, I never had any issues with frame rate drops. It's a really cool game, it's replayable, you can change the difficulties, you can play it like you have like replays, so you can just turn back time a little bit and you start again if you screw up a corner or something like that. But you can also go in full-on pro, where you have none of this. It's a really cool game. I have absolutely not been disappointed. I did some research before I went for 4, so it's not like I just jumped in and I got 4. You can get 3, 4, and 5 for the Vita. I highly recommend 4. Not saying that the other 2 are a lot worse, but I just don't think, like 5 certainly doesn't, you know, I think it's way too expensive for what it does. That's for sure if you're going for physical. But a great racing game, 4 is definitely. Another game which I consider a racing game is Race the Sun. Race the Sun is... It's another hard game. It's another... Unfortunately, the physical release is again limited runs, so that means that it's difficult to cough the money up for the physical one. But I do think this one's quite cheap if you go to the PlayStation Store. And it's just, you got this plane and you can do a couple of things. You can jump high. You also get the ability to gain some more time. You're basically racing the setting sun. And once the sun sets, that's it, game over. You're a solar-powered little glider. And you're just basically trying to go as far on the different levels as you can. It's quite, you know, if you're into this stuff that you just, okay, I die, I continue, I die, I continue, I die, I continue, trying to go for like the top score. This is a really cool game for that. You will really like it. It's simple, but it's also one of not many games that have been released in this, you know, late final life cycle of the Vita that is actually 3D. So there you go, Race the Sun. I think it's another great racing game. Highly recommend it, guys. Highly recommend it. This one is a recent pickup. Dragon Ball Z, Battle of Z. You guys obviously know that I'm a massive Dragon Ball Z fan, always have been and always will be. This is the English language release, and I played it for like maybe a few hours, maybe like 3-4 hours when I got it, because I got like a couple of games recently, 3 to be specific. And first of all, it looks and it plays like Xenoverse on the PlayStation 3. So this, this could basically be a PlayStation 3 game. It looks just like that. It handles just like that. It's a really, really cool game. So if you guys played Xenoverse 1 on the 3, the menu system, the look of the characters, all that is very similar here. I really like the storyline of Xenoverse. I just found it intriguing how many different characters they've introduced, and then also in Xenoverse 2 as well, which is also really cool. But if you want the handheld version, this is definitely the one to go for. It's a really cool game. It goes through. It starts from Reddit, so from the beginning of the Saiyan saga, and goes all the way up to Battle of the Gods. So the first Super movie. This did actually come out in 2014, which is the release year of the Battle of the Gods. And you go up to the point where you can play Goku as Super Saiyan God, and you have Beerus. So this is like sort of like the missing link between Z and Super. Pick it up if you can. Next one. Picked this up about a year ago. Obviously, they've re-released Metro City Rampage at the same time when Shakedown Hawaii was finally released. And when I was bedridden just before Christmas, I just completed this game. Just went to sleep, put it down, woke up, picked it up again. I was recovering from an operation, and just such a good game. Shakedown Hawaii is just amazing, Maybe I've done a mistake by not picking up Retro City first and playing through that, because you are degrading when you're looking at the graphics. This is far superior. One of the last big games that came out for the Vita, and it's also PS TV, Vita TV compatible, which is just really cool. But it's basically, if you guys played Chinatown Wars, for example, for Grand Theft Auto on the PSP, also available for the Vita in the PS Vita store, the PS store. So I highly recommend that one as well. If you haven't played that, but this is a blast. There's so much humor in it. It's free roaming, so you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. It's very much a GTA copy, the old style GTA copy, but not like GTA or GTA 2. It's a lot more advanced. It's a lot more fun. It's easy to control, fairly easy to navigate yourself through the city. You get used to it after a while. The amount of humor you got in it, it's just great. And there's a couple of different storylines that you follow as well, so it doesn't even get boring. Playthrough, probably, if you sit down, it's like probably 10 hours, 15 hours, and finish it quite quick. But there's some unlockables, and you can go on different missions as well, so it's good. This one, it's a quite niche game, but then again, if you guys aren't used to niche stuff coming from me, then what the fuck are you doing here? Space Hulk for the Vita. I know. It, as I said, it's really niche. I only recommend it if you either like strategy games, like Final Fantasy War of the Lions for the PSP, or if you like, there's been a couple of games that came out recently that's similar to this, but it's in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. It's a particular board game that they basically interpreted in a handheld form. This did come out on they basically just ported a tablet version onto this. there's a lot of annoying things if you play this game. You have to be a hardcore Space Hulk fan with some good patience if you want to play this game. If you have those things, it is gonna pay off though, because it's a really cool strategic game. You can play through the main campaign of the Space Hulk board game, and you have another 4 campaigns that you can play through after that. You got all the basic game rules, and you can change the difficulty. I recommend normal, because that's a good way to get into it. But I think if you got like some hardcore patience, and maybe if you can overclock your Vita, then I would recommend going to expert. If you go to expert mode, that's like the real board game where you actually have a timer. You only get the 4 action points. You don't get anything else on top of that in terms of command points extra to spend. It really gets much harder. I mean, it's still hard, but again, if you like the Warhammer 40,000 universe, or if you like Space Hulk, or if you like strategy games, and you don't mind a game being a little bit moderate clunky, then I recommend Space Hulk. I probably put one of the highest number into this game in terms of gameplay hours. I'd probably say this one's around the 40 hour range. We got 2 left, and one of them I haven't really played much, but it's only because, you know, once you get into it, you're into it, and then you just can't put it down. And currently, the one I'm playing like that is the one that I'm going to show you after this game. So this is Gundam Genesis G Generation. It says game card 1 because the game comes with 2 cartridges. You need to install a massive chunk of the game. The game is huge. I mean, huge. But it's worth it. I don't know if it's still available. This is from... gosh, where did I get this from? Help me here. This is from PlayAsia. Yes. And you basically get to play through, I think, pretty much everything that came out anime-wise and game-wise that is in the universal timeline, the basic timeline, you know, where you got Mobile Suit Gundam. So that's what you start with, and you just go through the whole timeline. This one, they come in that little box there that you can see next to Axiom Verge, and you get a little art book with it as well, which is really cool. I've shown this to you guys here on the channel. Gundam Vita, fucking play it. And then the last one, this is the one that I'm currently playing, and I'm playing it a lot. It's literally in the Vita right now. Okay, start it up. There you go. I'm playing it right now. Is Dynasty Warriors next. This is one of the OG releases, PSCB 0089, so you know, it's like within the first 100 games that came out on the Vita. It looks amazing. If you haven't played Dynasty Warriors before, it's basically a hack and slash where you're in like a feudal China setup. Sorry, it's just this particular head sometimes gets a bit itchy, even though I wash it a lot. Feudal China setup, and you're basically going up against, you know, these different armies, and you're usually one general from that particular storyline. This game goes through different storylines, so you're not constantly playing the same sort of clan. You play with a lot of characters that then you end up battling against. It's got 3D cutscenes, beautifully made 3D cutscenes. It's completely dubbed in English. It's got a lot of interesting different mini games involved where you're using the front and the back touch screen. I think they have done the best they could, with this. Obviously, there was a massive push to use the touch screens when the console was new. You are using them. A lot of different mini games, as I said, but the main gameplay is you go around. You can even summon your horse, run around, hack and slash. Basically conquer all the different depots, supply bases, towers of your opponent before you attack their main sort of encampment on the map. And it's cool. It's got a lot of replayability. It used to have Wi-Fi, like servers running. I don't know if they still do. I'm not like super high on the server stuff. I play games for the single player. But you got the campaign mode. You got like 3-4 different modes in here. You can even dress your own character if you want. Like, not the character you're gonna be playing with, but you can create a character, and I suppose that's gonna be your avatar if you play online and stuff like that. So it's not expensive to pick it up. There's another Dynasty Warriors on the Vita. I'm going to be picking up that as well once I've completed this, and maybe checked out a few reviews. But yeah, definitely highly recommend this game. And that's about it. Top 10 of my current favorite physical Vita games. But I say that current because I still have quite a few games up there that I haven't played. I played a little bit of the Count Lucanor games, or Lucanor, I don't know really how that's supposed to be said. It was okay, but probably not one of Ratalaika's finest, that's what I'd say. The Long Reach is another one that I haven't really managed to play a lot yet, because you got a few of these horror movies and you really need to be in the mood for it, like Silent Hill as well. I also have Yomawari, when you basically going around and just meeting a lot of spooky shit. There are some more racing games on the Vita, but realistically, there aren't too many great ones. There's a few good ones, but there's quite a few not super great ones as well, if that makes sense. Let me know what are your favorite physical Vita games, and let me know what makes them so good. And until next time, peace out YouTube, this is Bloodstained signing out.